Hi guys, hope everyone's doing well. Today I get to do the video that I have been so excited to do. I've been waiting to do this one all year. So this video is about my top 10 favourite colouring books. Well, actually I lie, there is 12, but let's just say top 10 with an added 2 on top. So these books are not necessarily the ones I've worked in the most this year, but they are the ones that have the most beautiful artwork and the ones that I could just look at all day long. Some are still actually untouched because I'm too scared to go there and ruin it. Hopefully in 2005 I can get over that fear and have a start in a couple of them. I will start off with Colourful Time by Gugeli. This is a Chinese colouring book and this is my all-time favourite. And that is purely because of the spectacular artwork. It's just divine. The paper in this book is so different from any of the other books I've got. It's like a watercolour paper, but to be honest, it doesn't work the same as a watercolour paper. It's quite hard to paint on, and I have heard that you need to get used to using your watercolours on there. So it's kind of a little bit textured on both sides, quite thick, but you do get a little bit of bleed through as well sometimes. It's also super thick as well. So it's got so many pages in here. I'll go through a little bit just so you can have a look. Most people have seen this book. And Gugeli has a couple of other books as well. This is the only one I've got. I would like some of his other books, but this is the only one I've got at the moment. So it's super special because it comes with this really long pull-out, which I'm not going to be able to show, but I don't think I'll ever colour in that because that is a lot of work. So I've only actually done one picture in this book, and that one is this one here. I actually did this picture a long time ago, quite at the beginning of my colouring journey, and I thought I'd completed it, but now I look at it, I do feel like it's a whip. I feel like I have to do a little bit more shading. I would like to add some gel pen, also some metallics in there as well. So I might go back in there and do some finishing touches, but I did do a pretty good job considering it was at the beginning of my colouring journey. And to be completely honest, I have been scared to do anything else in here. I have had pages picked out to do in here so many times, and then I've just put it back because I'm just petrified. So 2005 is going to be the year that I really start working in this book because it is just absolutely beautiful. Every single image, I don't think there's an image in this book that I would not want to colour. And I'm also going to conquer that watercolour in this book and do some practicing and see how I go with that. I think there's quite a bit of learning curve with the watercolour in these books. And if anyone has any tips on using watercolour in these books, let me know. I would love any tips at all. So that's my very first and very favourite colouring book. So the second colouring book is Atelier of Witch Hat colouring book. Now the Colourful Time colouring book was definitely my favourite, but from now on, it's not really in any particular order. So this book is based on a Japanese manga series, which I actually have not read, but the pictures in here are so beautiful. It just really, really caught my eye and I had to buy it. This is another untouched book because of the fear of ruining it. I could just look through this book and I'm mesmerised by the pictures and I don't even feel like I need to colour it, but I want to. I really deep down want to colour it. The paper is really thick and I love that it's one-sided. It's like more of a cardstock than a normal paper. So I'll just go through. I do have a flip through of this full book on my channel. So I think because it's such a really, really thick cardstock, you could use anything on here. I would say that water mediums would really work well. It's quite a smooth surface as well, so I think that pencils would do quite well as well. maybe I'll wait to improve my colouring skills a little bit more before I tackle this book, because the fear of ruining a page is real with this one. There's some really, really beautiful pictures in here. And I know if you are a fan of the manga series, you will love this book. Next is The Night Voyage by Daria. This book is part of a series of 3 books from Daria, and this is the 3rd book. There's 2 other ones. The first one is called The Time Garden. I actually do have a copy of that one and I haven't coloured in that yet, but that is just as beautiful as this one. And also the second book is called The Time Chamber, and then this is the final one called The Night Voyage. I do want to get The Time Chamber as well because I would like to complete all 3 of them, but I just haven't had the chance to buy it yet. And I've got a feeling that it's not going to go out of print anytime soon, so there's not too much of a rush. This book is also called The Present. So I think one of the earlier prints of this book had a different name, so it was The Present, and then they've recently changed it to The Night Voyage. This is honestly such a magical book. Every illustration is so intricate and whimsical. The intricacy of it is a little bit intimidating, but once you start colouring it, it's fine. It's just getting started on it. I think that sometimes is a little bit hard to do. So the paper, once again, in this book is also really awesome. It is double-sided, so you do have that worry of it going through, but I haven't seen much bleed through, and I have used quite a few water mediums on here. See, there's a slight bit of bleed through here, but not much. That's from Neocolor 2s. And I've also used Inktense as well. So it seemed to be fun. I'm not sure how it will go with watercolor, but we'll see. This is a project book for me, and I plan to complete it using collage on every single page. It isn't an easy feat considering how intricate the pictures are, and I know it will take me a long time, but I can already see in my mind's eye how beautiful it will be when it's completely finished. I actually did see a video, I can't remember whose channel it was, on this completed book, and it was stunning when it was complete. So I'll just go through it and show you. So there's quite a few of them are whips at the moment, but you can see here I've put quite a bit of collage in the back. See the intricate pictures, very intricate, lots of rooftops to colour in as well. But absolutely beautiful pictures, beautiful illustrations. All her books are so beautifully illustrated. So very much looking forward to doing a little bit more of that in 2005. Then we have got Poils, which is a French colouring in book. And this is illustrated by Dufour. I also translated this here, and this came through as the small squares in English, which is a perfect definition of this book because it is a small block of little square pictures, which are just a perfect size. If you like to finish one page in a sitting, this is perfect. Really, really good for that. I feel when I colour in this book, I don't feel any stress, I don't feel any need to make it perfect. The paper is amazing. I do find that any of these Art Therapy Hatchet Heroes books do have this really, really great paper. So the book's all pictures of animals doing animal things, and then also there's quite a few of animals with their people as well. And the funny thing I've noticed about it is that the people never have their faces, which I love because I hate colouring in people's faces. I find that you can try lots of different techniques. This is a whip here. You can do lots of different techniques, try different new mediums, and it's not really a lot that you have to do. So So I'll just flip through and we can have a look at some of the pages. So these are two whips here that I don't like, and I'm like one of those people that don't like looking through my books and seeing pictures that I have done and dislike. So my plan is just to glue these together so I don't even have to look at them. But before I glue them together, I want to do this page, and because I won't have to worry about the bleed through at all because I'm going to glue these together, I'm going to use some alcohol markers on here. So that's why I haven't glued it together yet. These two pages here are, this is Neo Colours, so it's just, it hasn't gone through at all. Pictures are so gorgeous. This has been a little bit of bleed through here. But really, it's not too much of a problem with the bleed through. It's really nice thick paper. So lots of gorgeous, gorgeous pictures in here. Everything's cute. Everything makes you smile. Everything's super joyous. I would have to actually say that this is my most worked in book this year. When I first got it, I couldn't put it down. I just could not stop colouring in. I also bought it for one of my colouring friends, and she was the same. She just loved it. It's really, really nice size. It's really nice change from those big books to have a really little sized book. And at the end of this book, they do have some extra pictures, which are one-sided. They're just repeats. And then they have some little tags, name tags, and also some little bookmarks here that you can colour in. And I've just used this one for testing mediums. So if you're looking for a book that's a perfect little size, also just to put in your colouring bag if you're travelling, go for this one, it's perfect. So this next book is also a Hachette Heroes book. So it's still got that amazing paper, but this says Les Grands Carrés, which means the large squares. So this name here translates to little dolls in English, but it's full of images of Disney characters when they're small children. So the pictures are really quirky. They're in a really sketchy style. And I think that's what drew me to this book in the first place. The whole book is one-sided, which is always a plus for any book that I'm looking at, because I love to be able to use anything that I want and not be restricted to what I can use on the page. This book has actually been a complete and total surprise to me that I like it so much, because I never like Disney characters colouring in books. I don't know why, they just never seem to appeal to me. I think maybe one of the reasons is when you colour in a character, you have to use, well, I feel like I have to use the colours that that character are in. So I have to make sure that, so if I was to colour in him, I'd have to make sure that he's blue. But really, I've told myself I don't have to do that. I can just do whatever colours I like. I don't think I like being restricted to that. But this is different as well because it's just, the art's just so pretty and amazing. I've only actually coloured in 2 pictures in this book, but I have enjoyed every minute of colouring in this book. And I actually cannot wait to colour in some more. So I'm not a huge Disney person, but obviously I do have a daughter who's 10 now, so I have probably watched most of the Disney movies that are depicted in this book. Some of them I don't recognise, but most of them I know who they are. So if you're looking for a Disney book that's a little bit quirky and a little bit different, this is a great one to hit up. There's also a full flip through of this on my channel, and I'll link it in the description. Next we have Yuko Higuchi's Magical Colouring Museum. And this is a Japanese book. This book is totally untouched and definitely right up there on the top of my favourite list. Might even be number 2, I think. Yuko's illustrations are just phenomenal. So this book actually tells a story. It tells a story of a brother and sister that go to a museum, and during the book, in all the different pages, they get turned into all the different animals and characters that are inside that museum. It is a stunning book, and I'm absolutely petrified of making a mistake in it. So this is an untouched book, and would not surprise me if this is an untouched book for the rest of my life, because I love it that much. But I'll show you what the paper's like. It has quite different paper in here. So right at the beginning of the book, it has this paper here. One side of it is super smooth and one side of it is a little bit rough, but it's see-through. So I'm not sure how that will be to colour on. This one here is smooth, and then that one's rough, and then they've got the rough side on here and the smooth side on there. And I actually quite like how you can just see through it. So the beginning of the book starts with that paper, and then it goes into this paper, which is double-sided, but it does seem to be quite thick. I also love how they've coloured in some of the backgrounds as well. So I'll just go through quickly. I do have a full flip through of this one as well on my channel. It's honestly just the most magnificent book of wonder. I don't know how to explain it. I love it. I really, really love it. I really want to colour in it so much. What I should do is I should buy myself another copy. So then if I ruin one, it doesn't matter if I have the other copy, and I'll be able to just feel free and have fun in it. I did buy it a while ago, and I actually can't even remember where I bought it from. But I do remember it wasn't too cheap. It was quite pricey, if I remember rightly. But yeah, so you get the gist. It's just beautiful. And yeah, for a full flip through of this one as well, I do have it on my channel, and I will link that one in the description also. I also have The Search for the Lightbulb Burglar in my top 10 by David Habben. And this book has the absolute best paper out of all my colouring books that I have. It is so thick, one-sided, it's more like cardstock. It takes all mediums that I have thrown at it amazingly without any problems. So it has a steampunk vibe. It's kind of like a graphic novel-y kind of vibe to me. And it tells the story of a light bulb and a burglar who steals it. So at the beginning, it does go through and explain the story to you. So then when you're colouring it in, you can follow it. So I'll just go through and show you some of the pages. I really like the thick line work in this. And the pictures are very different than any other colouring book out there that I've seen. I also have David Habben's other book, which is called The Explorer's Journey. That has the same paper and also really fabulous artwork, but I haven't had that for very long. So if I had to choose out of this one and that one, I would choose this one. So I'll show you one of the pages that I've done with, so that's one that I've done with collage and a little bit of watercolour on here. So I have done watercolour on here. There's a couple more I've done in here. Let's find them. This one here, so this is done with Inktense activated with water. You can see absolutely no buckling. A little bit of bleed through, but it doesn't matter because it's one-sided. So that took the Inktense activated fabulously. And then also this one here. So with this one, I used watercolor on this blue smoke, and I used it really, really, really water heavy, and then put salt on here to get this little, you know how you can put salt down and then you get this little pattern? And sometimes I find that taking the salt off will ruin the paper, and that's not done anything to this paper. So amazing paper. If you really want to try watercolor, these are the books to go for. Definitely the one I reach for if I want to have a little bit of fun. I also have Sagor och Sagner by Emilie Lidehall, Oberg, and this is a Swedish book. So this book here is actually out of print now. I was looking for this for a very long time, and I was super lucky to see it on Marketplace for a super cheap price. I contacted the lady that was selling it, and when I got to her house, it was brand new. It hadn't even been opened. It smelled brand new. So I was super stoked with that. It's like one of those wins that you get. But even though this one's out of print, she has just this year done another print, and it's actually called Fairies and Folklore. And that edition actually has some new images in it as well. But I have heard that that's pretty amazing paper too, because this one is fantastic paper. And hardcovers always get me. I love colouring books with hardcovers. When I started my colouring journey, when I found out you could get colouring books with hardcovers, I was sold. It was just amazing to me. I still think it's amazing. I love having colouring books with hardcovers. So obviously anyone that knows, these illustrations are amazing, so different. She does have another book as well, which I have, but I'd have to say this is my favourite just because it's got the hardcover. The other one doesn't have a hardcover, but it's still a beautiful book. The images are beautiful. So this is another one that I haven't done much in. Started this one here of the dragon, and then I've done this one here as well. I actually took inspiration for this one from another colorist, and I don't know who it is because I can't remember, but if you're out there and you're watching this, please take credit because I used your color palette and basically copied your whole picture, because when I first did a picture in this book, I didn't want to ruin it, so I felt like I had to copy someone else's work. But beautiful book, and one that once again I am looking forward to working in 2005. Definitely cannot go past these illustrations, and this book is full of just pure whimsy. It's beautiful. I actually think this book can resonate with all age groups as well. My 10-year-old daughter loves the pictures in here, and I reckon it would resonate with really young kids as well. So an overall amazing book. I also have Spirit Animal by Ravynne Phelan. And if you don't know who Ravynne Phelan is, she is an artist that makes absolute stunning paintings. Her work is fantastic. Actually, before I got this book, I owned this journal of hers. She makes lots of different journals like this, and throughout the journals, there's heaps of the pictures that are in this book are in this journal. So I find it really nice to look in this journal, find the images and take inspiration. But I had this journal before this colouring book came out, and it's one of my favourites. I can just sit down and for hours and look through the pictures in that journal. So when this book came out, I was super excited and I had to get it, and the images are fantastic. So the publisher of this book is Blue Angel Publishing. So most of you probably know the book Wildflower Folk, and that has got the same publisher. So that's got the same amazing paper that's in that book. So it's beautiful to work on, nice and smooth. This book here is one-sided. The images are a little bit intimidating because they are so different. Like, it's quite a different way of colouring in, but I think that's what's enjoyable because it's not the same as what you're doing over and over again. So in this image here, there's lots of different line work and it's quite hard to navigate what to put where, but that's why that journal comes in handy for me, because I can go back and have a look what colours go where and see what's what, because sometimes it does get a bit confusing. So I've only done a couple of images in this book. I've done this one here of these ravens, and I've started this one here. So it does, I really, really wet this page. It is very wet. So it has warped slightly, but I think I can iron that back into place. I haven't actually attempted to iron it back into place, but I did do quite a few layers on here. So I understand why it's warped so much, and hopefully I can iron it back into place. But the images are stunning, really beautiful. I really like these bare images, and I love these images with lots of stuff going on as well. I haven't seen many colorists have these books. I've seen a few that have this book and they've done beautiful work in it, but I haven't seen many. So if you do have this book, let me know. I'd just like to know what type of medium you use in yours. I also absolutely love Escape to Oz by Good Wives and Warriors. So this book is a series of their books. They make, I think there's about 4 or 5 of this really small size, and they have all different titles. And I've got a few of them, but Escape to Oz is my favourite. The paper's fantastic. They are double-sided spreads, so you do have to be slightly more conscious of what you use, because some things do go through. But I used alcohol markers on this knowing that it would go through because I wasn't too fussed about the images on the back. This book is another one of my project books, and once again using collage on every page. And I have realised that I'm more than happy to lose a couple of these images if I want to use like mediums that are going to go through. So because I'm using collage in here, some pages that I don't really love, I can collage over. So I'll show you what I mean. But you can see all the illustrations are quite detailed for such a little book. So like the other little book I showed you, you could finish that in one sitting. I don't think I could finish any of these pages in one sitting. They're very complicated, and most of them are double page spreads as well. So with this one, this whip here where I started to use my alcohol markers, I didn't really like this page here. So what I will do is I'll collage a whole picture onto this page because I like this one. And then this one here is a double page spread. But the more I looked at it, the more I realized that I could collage an image onto here, completely onto here, and use this as a one page spread, because this funny little cat is the main picture and it's still there. So I wouldn't be losing anything if I used collaged over this side here. So many little details and different little stories happening everywhere. This one is very intricate, but will look amazing when it's finished. So that's another one that will probably take me a couple of years to get to the end of, but I do like having project books because it gives you something to come back to if you are just unsure of what to colour or want something that you feel comfortable with, because when you've coloured it in for a while, you seem to have a feeling for that book and feel comfortable. So that's what this book is for me. So these books here are the added extra 2 at the end. I could not make a favourites list without adding a Hannah Karlzon book because I have quite a few of her books and I do love them. I love the paper, I love the illustrations, and of course, I love the fact that it's a hardcover. So this one here is The City Among the Stars, and I like these smaller books that she has, where she's got the books that are a little bit larger and then these series that are quite small. So this is my favourite one because I like the style of the images. I like that it's quite steampunky. And I actually really enjoy the costumes that the people are wearing, like these costumes here. Like, I really enjoy them. So once again, I have not started colouring in this book, but I'm very much looking forward to it. It has been sitting in my cupboard and has had markers in it quite a few times to start images, but I haven't quite got there. Not for any real reason, I just haven't made it through to it, but very much looking forward to starting it. So if you have any Hannah Karlzon books, you'll know that the paper is fantastic, and as always, little quirky things in her pictures. She has a lot of double page spreads and I find that quite intimidating. It's quite difficult knowing that you have to finish 2 pages like this one. I feel like there's quite a lot going on there. But so many people have coloured in this book and there's so many beautiful inspirational images out there that you can get some great ideas from. So that's my first added extra, the Hannah Karlzon book. So those that you don't know, Hannah Karlzon is a Swedish illustrator and you can get the Swedish copies, but I've always got the English copies of her books and the paper's been amazing. So the last book is Droom Reis by Maria Trolle, and my Google translates this as Dream Trip, which does make sense because the book is like her going on a trip through her dreams. I love Maria Trolle's illustrative style, and since the beginning of my journey, I've had this book sitting there and I have done some colouring in it. And to be honest, I don't love the colouring that I did because it was at the beginning of my journey and it's not perfect. So I can do 2 things. I can either go back into those colourings and try and fix them up and make them a little bit better, or because this is a single-sided book, once again, hardcover and single-sided, if I really hate an image, I can just glue this page down and then I don't have to see it. I know that's really bad, and I know that some colorists say it's really nice to see how far you've come, but I get really frustrated when I'm working a book and I look through it and there's images coloured in that I really dislike. So I'm the type of person that will just glue the pages together and I don't have to see it then. But this book is a beautiful quality paper, and the images are amazing. Well, Maria Trolle is a fantastic illustrator, so all her books are fantastic. But I really like this one because it is single-sided. So it's kind of like an art edition one, really, where it's single-sided. And the paper is super thick, a lot thicker than her other books. Like her other books have beautiful paper, but this paper is a lot thicker. And people are always whinging about this, how it's cut off at the side, but for some reason, I actually really like how it's cut off at the side. I think it just adds a little bit of, I don't know, something like a little bit of an artistic look to it, and I really enjoy that it's cut off at the side. So this is one of my older works. I'm not really in love with it, nor am I in love with that one. I have gone back into this one and tried to fix it, but I feel like I just made it worse. But at least I went back and tried to fix it. And have a quick flip through of this. This fox shows up a lot in this. I'm not really a fan of these black backgrounds that Maria Trolle does, but I have found ways to work with it. So there's a lots of pages in here that I haven't started yet. I do have quite a few other of Maria Trolle's books, so I have been colouring in them quite a lot. But I really do want to get back to this one. This one here had a little bit of a misprint here, but it doesn't really bother me because I think after I've coloured that in, you won't be able to see it. That's definitely one of my favourites in this book. These little wispy characters show up quite a little bit in Maria Trolle's books. I think they're super cute. So that's a black background. I've just added a couple of gel pen dots in there just so it's not so boring. And this is one that I think I can add. I still quite like this, so I think this is the one that I can add maybe some metallics and maybe some gel pens just to give it a little bit of extra depth. I can add some more shading. I can work on the fur on this fox. So I think I can call this one a whip and work a little bit more on this one because I think that's a good base, but with the other ones I just don't really like how they started off. I love this map page as well. So there you have it. There are my top 12 favourite books for 2024, and I'm pretty sure that quite a few of them will be in my top for 2025 as well because I am absolutely connected to some of those books that I showed you. And thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you have any of these books and what you think about them. And also let me know what your favourite colouring book is for 2024. So there could be something there that I've never seen and I would love to check it out. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy colouring and bye.